This video is a training guide for setting up your power distribution system for a MTOC deployed system. First thing, this is a MEP generator, 30 kilowatt. The output voltage is 120, 208. It's a three-phase system, but this generator is also capable of three-phase 240, 416 volt, which is can do 50 or 60 hertz according to how you set it up. But we mostly it's always set up for 60 hertz, 120, 208 volt. First thing you do is check the oil. Make sure they're not low on oil. Of course, the dipstick is on the other side. So while we're here, though, let's take a look at this dead crank switch. See how you have crank, off, and normal? This is a service switch for somebody working on the engine. If you turn it off, this generator's not starting. So it's a good way to keep somebody from tampering with the generator. But just remember that you have it in the off position. Normal, you're able to crank it. Crank is for bumping the engine for timing and whatnot. Valve, like I said, it's a service item. So we'll go on the other side. Here's the dipstick. Just pull it out, check. Make sure you got oil. You don't want to start it up without having oil in it. That's your oil filter. That is your fuel filter, but it's also where you would prime the engine in case you were in case you've run it low on fuel. Turn this little nut right here. It's usually, you can do it, but it's got a little thing for a screwdriver. Turn it clockwise, and I'm sorry, counterclockwise. Open it up just a couple turns. Take your fuel lift. It's got a little lever on it for prime. Pump it until you see that you get solid fuel coming out of there. So you'd want to have something below it, like a rag or something, to catch the fuel. And just pump this, and you'll feel it. No air coming out of the threads. You're pretty well primed. Close the nut back, tighten it, and then you pump this until the pump goes limp. You don't feel any pressure behind it, and that gives you a good prime on the engine. This circuit breaker right here turns off the DC power, which is another little way you could turn off the generator if you wanted to. And it's good to, if it's going to be in storage for a long time, to pull this circuit breaker to keep the batteries from draining. The coolant level. Right now you see this has got some coolant in the return deal. It's a little bit below the cold, which is okay. You could add some there if you wanted to, but you don't have to. This is the fuel distribution pump. This connection here is for fuel that returns from the cylinder. Unburnt fuel returns back into the actuator and gets redistributed again. These are the lines to the cylinders themselves, to the injectors. and they're under extremely high pressure, so you know, if you're trying to service this, just remember that. This actuator is what controls the flow of fuel to the cylinders themselves. You have a speed control card up in the front that determines where the position of that actuator is, so that you have a constant RPM of 1800 revolutions per minute, and this gives you the 60 hertz voltage that we're looking for. The diesel generator control unit. This is the screen, the computer interface module. Here's your emergency stop button. Master control on, engine control switch. This is for your ground fault receptacle over here. It's just a utility 120 volt output ground fault receptacle if needed. Hour gauge, fault reset, AC interrupt closed. With this in a closed position, which it's a momentary switch, when you close that, it delivers the electricity out to the output terminals right here. These are where your cam locks are connected to the generator. This is ether start. This is one feature we don't have on these generators. You can buy that feature if you're in a cold environment. There's your frequency adjust. If you have to adjust the frequency or the voltage, and I'll get into why you might want to adjust those later. Alright, to start this up, you got a nice procedure right here. If you go by this, you can't go wrong, all except for one thing. It's not going to tell you if the emergency stop button's pushed. With that emergency stop button pushed, the generator will not start. This actually shuts the voltage down to that electric actuator that I showed you on the fuel distribution pump. That's how that works. So anyway, to start this, initially turn your master control switch on, and you'll have to wait till the screen boots up. This network light comes on, and once it goes off, the generator is totally booted up and you can try to start it. Now the screen is really hard to see, so you have this panel light switch here, which if you turn it on, there's some brightness, but if you click it again, it's brighter still. So just remember that. And these two green lights also come on for nighttime use. So the screen is all booted up, and we're able to start this manually. And the way to do this is turn the engine control switch to prime and run, hit your fault reset, 2 seconds, and go to start.